So the other day I watched a YouTube video doing exactly this and it kinda inspired me since I've always loved creepy stories. So I hope you enjoy. I'll be playing on my new forever world that I create just for this channel. First story is by Apache Blackwater. I wish I'd never watched my family's old home videos. My sister found the tapes in the attic after the funeral, hidden away in a cardboard box filled with a dozen or so tapes. Our father's version of a time capsule, I suppose. She gave me 3 of them before I left to return home, stored in a Ziploc bag, as if she thought they'd rot or leak if left unsealed. I think Dad meant for you to have those, she said, her voice distant. He kept them separate from the others. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Just old home videos, nostalgia, maybe. Or his version of a time capsule. It wasn't until 2 weeks later, on a rainy Wednesday night, that I started digging through them. I'd had too much to drink, and I felt sentimental. The tapes were HI-8 cassettes from the late 90s. On them were handwritten labels, written in elegant hand. Springfield Trip, 93, First Steps, 1994, Christmas, 95. And under each label, Nate, my name, had been scratched on white with a black marker. There was something comforting about the handwriting, familiar, but not quite, a strange nostalgia, like remembering a dream from someone else's childhood. The screen flickered, static. Then, a baby, me, I guess, being held by a woman I didn't recognize. We were in a wild field. Must have been summer. She had curvy brown hair, big sunglasses, and a laugh that came from deep in her belly. She looked happy. She looked in love. But not with me, with whoever was filming. That's it, sweetheart. A man's voice chuckled from behind the camera. Get a close-up of these chubby cheeks. The woman cradled the baby, me, up to the lens and winked. That's our boy, she said, and then turned towards something off camera. Her smile faltered slightly. The camera panned over. In the distance, near the wood, stood a figure, far away, unmoving, dressed in dark clothes, standing there, watching. Do you see that? The woman asked. The man zoomed in slightly. The figure didn't move. It's probably just someone out for a walk, he said. Though his voice was quieter now. She turned to him. The same man from yesterday, Frank. The camera joined slightly, a jerk of motion, and then static, a hard cut. I rewound and played it again, and again, unsure what to make of it. A creepy chill crawled up the back of my neck. The second tape was First Steps. Same woman, same man, same baby Nate. But this time, something was off. The house didn't match my memories. The wallpaper wasn't the one I grew up with. The couch was a different color than in all my family photos. When I took those steps, wobbling, laughing, I fell in the arms of the same strange woman. She kissed me on the neck. You did it, my big boy. In the background, though, the window, at the edge of the yard, just beyond the fence. The same figure, still staring. I paused the tape. I rewound it, went frame by frame, and there he was. Black clothes, long dark hair, pale skin, a barely visible face. But one I recognized. The man filming stepped into frame, briefly. Broad shoulders, strong jaw, glasses. Not my dad, or at least not the man I grew up calling a father. He gave the woman a kiss on the cheek, and together with her child, me, they made a perfect family. Then came the third tape, Christmas, 95. This one started out warm, familiar. The living room glowed with the garland and wrapping paper. A crooked artificial tree stood in the corner. Holiday music crackled from the radio. The woman, my mother, I realized. She wore a red turtleneck, no makeup, just joy in her eyes. She handed a present to the baby, a version of me, a toddler, in green footy pajamas. Frank, that was his name. The man from the earlier tapes smiled from the carpet. He adjusted the camera on the tripod and gave me thumbs up. All right, Nate, he said. Let's see what Santa brought ye. He stood and knelt beside me, helping tear the paper. The camera, now unattached, face slightly askewed, catching the hallway just past the living room. Then movement. A tall figure stepped into view. His hair was jet black, his clothes were dark, his posture was stiff and wrong. He stood half lit by Christmas lights, staring straight ahead. It was the man I knew as Dad, my father, The man who raised me. But there, in the footage, he was someone else. My mother gasp came out first. Frank, she whispered. Frank, he's here. Then, scuffing and the sound of wrapping paper crinkling. Frank moved quickly, rising to stand between the stranger and his family. You need to leave, Frank shouted. This is our house. What do you want? My baby self started crying, and the man in the dark clothes stepped forward, a glint of metal by his side. A crowbar. The chaos followed. A scream, a crash. The camera jolted off the table, landing half beneath the couch, angled low towards the floor. It didn't stop. It kept recording. Screams, sobbing, the clatter of glass, a child's wail, and with a heavy thud, a body fell into view. Within the sliver of view beneath the couch, Frank dropped into frame. He was bleeding, coughing, one arm twisted beneath him. A heavy boot stepped over him. The man. Frank looked panicked, and with the sickening squeals of meat and bone, the man beat Frank to death, striking his face with the crowbar. Once, twice, again. The screen flickered and went static. But it wasn't over. After a few seconds, the tape resumed. A different house, a different Christmas, a new wallpaper. New tree. Quieter. I was older now, around 3 years, smiling, unbothered, opening a present. A toy dinosaur, battery operated. When I pressed his back, it roared. I grinned from behind the camera. Do you like it? My father asked. I nodded, smiling and playing with a new friend. But in the background, just barely, I almost missed, came the muffled sound of a woman crying, begging. Please, don't hurt my baby. The footsteps. A door opened. The same voice from the camera yelled something down the hall, or down the stairs. I didn't flinch. Just press the dinosaur button again. It roared, and I laughed. The video ended. I sat there for a long time after the screen went black. The camcorder was still humming, but I couldn't move. My heart felt hollow, my body cold. I kept thinking about Frank, about the woman, about the man who took me and made me call him Dad. I kept thinking about the toy dinosaur too. It was still in the box somewhere, in my closet, my favorite toy growing up. And I thought about something else, something I hadn't realized until now. In all those tapes, there were no other kids, not even my siblings, just me. I'm going to call my sister. I'm going to call my sister now. I need to talk to her about what I just watched. I want answers. I want this feeling inside to go away. I want to know what's on the other tapes. Yeah, that is some psychological fucking trauma right there. Imagine finding out your dad killed your family and stole you away. Imagine the trust issues coming from that. I managed to find part 2 after a little bit of searching. So, let's get into it. I grabbed my phone and pulled up my sister's contact. My thumb hovered for a second before I hit call. Each ring stretched out like chewing gum. Long, slow, tense. Just as I was about to hang up, the line clicked. Hello? Her voice was hoarse. She was clearly still half asleep. Hey, I said. It's me, Nate. What's wrong? I wasn't sure how to start. How do I tell someone the man who raised you may have murdered your actual parents? And he even taped it. The life you thought you'd built on something that still breathes in the dark corners of your house. I found something, I finally said. On the tapes you gave me. What? What do you find? She quietly asked. Like she was half asleep, not expecting anything important. I don't know how to say it. It's not good, I swallowed. You said there were others you found, right? I heard her mumble in her sleep. Rebecca, I need those tapes, I said, trying to pierce through her nightly haze. Nate, why? What you find? Her tone sharpened. I heard her shifting upright, more alert now. I took a deep breath, and I told her everything. All of it. There was a long silence between us, for a long while, until she spoke up and told me to come over. She still had the box, and I could tell part of her still wanted to find the same answers I wanted. I didn't sleep much last night. The screams from the final videotape had gripped my mind like a bear trap, torturous and unforgiving. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Frank's face again, twisted, bloodied, frozen in the final, awful moment just before the camera cut out. I lay in bed, stiff as a corpse, watching the shadows crawl across the ceiling when the light finally started to shift through the blinders. I checked the clock, 5:37 a.m. Fuck it, I said, getting out of bed. I couldn't wait any longer. Later that morning, I pulled up to her new place, a small cottage tucked behind the curtains of pine trees, tucked away like it didn't want to be found. The kind of house where the silence sells into your bone. Honestly, after the previous parts with the tapes, it feels kind of risky to go there, you know? You never know, she was into it in any kind of way, right? I brought the tapes and the camcorder with me. She met me at the door in a sweater and jeans, hair pulled back, face pale, unreadable. Rebecca said she still had the box in the basement. She said she hadn't gotten through them all yet, hadn't had the nerve to see if any were meant for her, our brothers. We didn't talk much as she led me inside, just the sound of her footsteps on the wooden floor and low hum of the old fridge in the kitchen. The tapes were waiting in a dusty milk crate near the shelf of the paint cans. There were at least 10 of them, unlabeled, untouched. I stared at them for a long time before speaking. Do you want to watch them with me? She hesitated briefly. Then she nodded. I think we have to. Rebecca sat curled on the couch, a blanket clutched in her hands, like it might somehow protect her from the past. The camcorder wired as I loaded in the next unlabeled tape from the box. I didn't say anything, I just pressed play. It opened with footages of a sunny park. Ordinary, unremarkable. A concrete path cut through the grass, leading to the small wooden playset. A woman stood beneath a tree, smiling gently at two children. A little boy ran in circles around her, while a baby slept in a carrier by her feet. The woman had long brown hair, a soft face, and something about her voice felt real. Not just in a nostalgic way, but personal, like it reached inside and pressed something buried. She waved to the camera and laughed awkwardly. Hey, she said, shielding her face with one hand. The camera operator didn't respond. The footage jittered slightly. Heavy breathing could be heard behind the lens. It glitched. Cut to the playset. The little boy, maybe 4 or 5, stood on the top, gripping the wooden railing. The cameraman was behind him now. Close. Too close. The breathing is louder. Then a hand. He reached out and shoved the boy off the playset. The audio spiked, a sickening thud, and a scream. Static. The video cut again, now from the same location near that tree. The mother sprinted past the lens, off-screen towards the fallen child. Her voice cracked with panic. As she called to him, the camera jolted and tilted down, to a carrier and a baby. There was a pause, and then the cameraman's hands reached down, unlatched the handle, and lifted it up. The baby stared up at the cameraman, not making a single sound, other than a soft caw, and the camera turned away from the chaos behind. The mother's voice broke into something raw, something primal, and then it cut. Now the camera was behind the line of bushes, filming through the leaves. The woman stood in the middle of the park, clutching the boy to her chest, sobbing and screaming to the horizon like she was waiting for the world to return her child. The camera zoomed in, slow and steady. Another cut. The baby was asleep now, in a crib. Soft music played faintly in the background. The footage was quiet, steady, almost loving. But the wallpaper was unmistakable. Yellow, faded, a pattern of dancing bears and toy trains. The nursery from our childhood home. The baby stared slightly in the blanket and curled a fist. Rebecca clapped her hand over her mouth. I just sat there, staring at the screen, too cold to speak, too stunned to breathe. And then the door behind the camera opened, and the operator spoke in a low, growly voice. Come to meet your little sister, Josh. The camera turned and revealed a boy similar in age to the other one earlier, with dark, thick hair curling across his head, wearing a race car pajamas. Then the tape finally ended. Rebecca didn't say anything for a long time. The only sound in the room was the soft, mechanical hum of the camcorder rewinding. Finally, she spoke, her voice small. So he took you from your home and me from the park? I nodded slowly, unable to lift my eyes from the screen. And he raised us. All of us. Like nothing happened. Not raised. Collected, I said, and the words felt like poison in my mouth. Rebecca pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders. We don't know anything yet. No, but we're starting to. She nodded. We sat in silence a little bit longer, like two people at the edge of a hole they couldn't see the bottom of. Then I reached for my phone. I need to call the others. Josh answered after the third ring. His voice was upbeat, but distracted. Hey Nate, I'm kinda tied up right now, setting up the new security system at the house. I'll call you back later, yeah? He hung up before I could even respond. Next, I tried Adam. Straight to voicemail. Seconds later, a text come in. I'm surprising my girlfriend with a visit. Talk later. I didn't reply. Not yet. I looked over at Rebecca, who stared at the box of the remaining tapes, like they might bite. We need to keep going, I said. She didn't argue. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. I'll be back with another update soon. We're just getting started. And there's no updates, and it's 8 months later, so I'm assuming we won't get anything more, sadly. It's kind of unsettling, to be honest. Like, there's one thing when it's extremely not realistic, but this one's like, you never know. This could happen in real life. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.